Well, hello, folks.
Hello there, Steve.
How's it going?
It's going good. Yeah, okay. The stream tonight is, well, the thumbnail just says girl math. This is the longer title is Girl Math and Financial Responsibility. So I first came up with this topic when Elena was looking for a topic for Saturday, but she chose another one. Okay, great. And then it kind of ruminated around in my head, and I came up, listened to a few things this week, and decided how I wanted to approach this subject. So this will be a fun stream, but the first part of it is laying the groundwork. Then we're going to get into just some fun examples of girl math. And then kind of an explanation about how does a man deal with this? And then a solution at the end. So, Plutarch is going to bring up some streams. So this might seem kind of dry at the beginning, but trust me, it relates, and we have to see how we get to girl math. So you can cue it up, Plutarch. What is girl math? We will find out. So let's first start out with a discussion from some educators or an educator about gentle parenting. Have you heard of the term gentle parenting?
Yes, I have. It makes me want to vomit.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm pretty sure that's what's court ordered.
We're going to go through, we're going to listen to about 5 minutes of this.
Okay. And yes, Nick, it is court ordered.
Hi friends, this is Trish and welcome to Teacher Therapy. Today we're going to be talking about how gentle parenting does not always mix well with the classroom. Now I want to offer a quick disclaimer. There is no one definition for gentle parenting, and gentle parenting experts sometimes disagree with each other. And of course, some people are using the term gentle parenting to describe lazy.
Yes, it is.
What?
Okay, it's a vocal fry there. Please.
Yeah.
All right, keep going.
Or permissive parenting. So I'm aware that not every parent that follows some of these tactics are going to raise little monsters, but we are seeing some trends. And if you are a gentle parenting advocate, I hope you'll stick around and hear me out, because it's definitely possible that what is working for you at home may not be working for your child in a classroom environment. And we'll talk about why. But for those of you that actually don't know what gentle parenting is, I want to give you some tangible examples of what it might look like. In many gentle parenting communities, saying no is highly discouraged, and giving a child a direct command is also highly discouraged. The idea is to eliminate no and eliminate commands and instead ask questions or have discussions. So instead of saying, put your shoes on, it's time to go, you might ask the question, wouldn't your feet feel better outside with some shoes on it? In gentle parenting, oftentimes just about everything is negotiable. So that
Ew, I hate this already.
give you some tangible examples of what. So instead of saying, put your shoes on, it's time to go, you might ask the question, wouldn't your feet feel better outside with some shoes on it? In gentle parenting, oftentimes just about everything is negotiable. So that will often eliminate firm schedules and routines. And there's always lots of choices available. And traditional forms of discipline are highly looked down upon. So there's not traditional negative consequences.
Everything's negotiable when the father's taken out of the picture, especially when they visit the father. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah.
consequences like grounding a kid or taking away their video games, but there's also not necessarily positive reinforcement like sticker charts or rewards. And you'll find that a child's moods and preferences are highly prioritized when it comes to everyday life. Now, here's where things get a little bit controversial. Temper tantrums and meltdowns are often validated, and that can even include hitting and kicking because the focus is not so much on what a child is doing, but on the emotions and the reasons behind what they're doing. So if a child is yelling and screaming and throwing things, you might hear conversations around big.
Okay, we're getting so much information here. So let's start out. You can't say no. You can't issue commands. And you have to negotiate. And there is no accountability.
Yeah.
So there is no penalties.
Yeah.
Yeah, how is this gonna work out? And then, what was the last thing she said? Oh, there's temper tantrums. But you reward temper tantrums.
You know what my parents did? What I did? They did two things. First, they just walked away if they could and completely ignored me. Second, wait till daddy gets home. Daddy sure took care of it.
Yeah, that's the one I always heard growing up.
Nick, I baited you and said you needed to introduce a new term. What's that new term?
Oh, gentle husbandry or gentle husbanding.
Okay. When things are bad in a marriage, you go to the church leadership. What do they tell you to do? Don't say no. Don't issue commands. Negotiate. Be gentle. And if she's throwing a hissy fit or a rant, you have to understand why and accommodate, reward that behavior. Okay. Now, am I wrong here? Is there any parallels?
Like, yeah, it didn't do shit for me. That just made everything worse. No matter what I did, I was fucked.
Okay, so
you're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
So for our few listeners here, we're taking the term gentle parenting. We're extracting the definition and we're applying it to what is commonly told to the Christian or the churchman. Gentle husbanding. And gentle parenting. We can easily see gentle parenting doesn't work. Gentle husbanding is just as much of a failure.
I would argue it's actually more of a failure of a concept, only because the child, like everyone knows the child doesn't have rights and needs limits. But everyone knows that the man does have rights and does not need the same limits. So it's almost like there's this extra effort put into making sure that the man does not exercise those rights. This gentle parenting thing, it's all, she said it, it's all about giving the children choices. And that's supposed to teach them better. And they turn into terrorists. Okay. So,
yeah. Well, let's finish this.
All right. Get back to the right one.
big feelings and validating those big feelings. In some gentle parenting camps, they are even discouraging traditional potty training. So a lot of teachers are finding that kids are coming in to school wearing diapers. You're not really going to find requirements to apologize. And there is a really big emphasis on the parents hiding their own feelings and emotions. So parents are not supposed to get angry, to look disappointed, to talk about how their child's behavior affects their feelings as parents. There's a big emphasis on parents being very calm and very happy at all times. And these themes can cross over into all areas of life. Some gentle parents would say there should never be requirements for kids to eat their vegetables, for example. There's a very wide spectrum in what you'll find in the gentle parenting community. And of course, not every single thing that gentle parents advocate for are terrible, but let's go ahead and move into why some of these things become problematic in the classroom. So first and foremost, there's often one teacher.
Special snowflakes raising special snowflakes. There we go.
Well, okay, but also special snowflakes demanding that they be treated like special snowflakes by men. We have no rights.
Yeah.
Steve, you were going to say something.
No, that's true. I was going to say, by people in authority or in the hierarchy. You cannot do that to me because I'm a special snowflake. I can do whatever I want.
Well, in this case, it's you can't tell me what to do because I'm, what's the new popular phrase, co-equal with you. I have just the same rights. I have just the same authority as you.
Right.
And I guess, if you really are all of that and we're not following any sort of patriarchal hierarchy, then yeah, I guess my only option is to gently husband you. I have to give you your gold star chart and your rewards and I'm speaking about your wife here. It's like, but look, we in the red pill, we talk all the time about how women are children. Okay. I guess you're actually, just confirming as a wife that you're actually just yet another child that I have to take care of.
You're jumping to the conclusion. We've not yet developed that.
Okay. My bad.
Let's continue.
Teaching 30 plus kids. In my teaching career, I taught every grade between 4th grade and 8th grade. And what works well for parents at home is completely impossible for a classroom teacher to do, even though schools are actually pushing for a lot of these methods to replace traditional methods in schools today. But of course, in a classroom, there cannot be an infinite amount of choices. There are very rigid time requirements. There's classroom rules. There's learning targets that are often out of control of the teacher. There's assignments to be completed. There's class discussions to be had. A teacher's agenda is often packed from the time a student walks in to the time they leave the classroom. And we just don't have the ability to hear about the fact that a student doesn't like an assignment or doesn't want to do it. We don't have time to process with kids every time an emotion comes up. And we have to constantly think about how the actions of one student affect the entire classroom environment.
No one seems to know this, but
Oh, he got mad.
An ad.
Example, I found that as a teacher, it was difficult to even tell a student that they needed to move to a different seat. They wanted to know why. They wanted to argue back. They wanted to negotiate. They wanted to tell me that I was doing my job wrong, and on and on and on. And then I would often get emails from that kid's parent also wanting to know why I would dare ask their student to switch seats. Now, the tricky thing in a classroom is there could be 10 different reasons why a student is being asked to move. And some of those I may not even be able to share with a student. For example, seats might have to change because of a student's IEP or 504 plan. There might be a bullying situation going on in the classroom where I need to separate students. And it could be as simple as 2 kids are sitting together and they distract each other and get each other off task. But I shouldn't have to explain all of that every single time I need to move somebody's seat. Even if they weren't the one doing anything wrong, a teacher has to have the ability to make simple decisions like that in the classroom. But with a gentle parented generation, it seems like the smallest things that a teacher asks a student to do turns into...
So, okay, I wanted to carry it through that last point. Teacher makes a decision. You need to move over there. Sit over there. I'm separating you two. Well, why are you doing this? You need to justify this. You need to explain to me the reason. No, you're just going to do it. Oh, then the parent calls up. Oh, you moved Sally. Why did you do this? Now, in a marriage relationship, theoretically, the man is the head. And he can make a decision. And it could be a trivial decision like, you need to go over there. It's not an extreme decision, but his wife can ask him, why are you telling me to do this? You need to explain yourself. You need to justify it. You need to convince me. I don't like this. You know what? I'm going to talk to my the church family and tell them that my husband made me do this. And then they're going to go to him and they're going to ask him, why did you make her do that? It was just a decision.
Yeah.
Does he need to
Welcome to
justify
what
his
was 11 years of
decision?
my life. Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
but then they'll call the elders. They'll call the elders, call the pastors, and they'll beat down on you. Be like, you need to serve her needs better. You need to be loving. Just because you're the head doesn't mean you have the power and authority to make a decision or tell her what to do.
And if you're not in a church,
Okay.
who do they call? Steve, who do they call if you're not in a church?
Oh, they can call the police.
Oh, yep.
They
Hey,
it
man, your
was
existence. Like my shirt, it said I have a shirt that says my existence equals abuse.
it's some
Man,
type
the
of
very
abuse
act of
if you
your
tell her.
existence, you are
Okay, so you have people. Well, okay, what I want to establish here is she's talking about gentle parenting. This is how children are brought up these days with this gentle parenting approach. And who do you think came up with this concept, this idea of gentle parenting? Yeah, think it was the man or the woman? Just a wild ass guess. Who do you think it was, Nick?
I didn't catch the first part of that.
Oh, do you think this concept of gentle parenting was promoted by men or by women?
Oh, women for sure.
Oh,
100%.
okay. So it's women trying to control the environment. And why do they try and do this? So no one gets their feelings hurt. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's the social. It's just trying to get everybody get along. Everybody get along. Nobody gets
Okay,
along.
so
Straight fucking chaos.
you cannot have gentle parenting within a hierarchy. You cannot do it. So if you have gentle parenting, you have gentle husbanding. They go together. Because if the man was in charge, he'd say, this is fucking stupid. We're not doing this. And no, enough of this discussion. Nope. You know what? Just follow the rules, do your homework, sit down, shut up, get it done. Okay. So, okay, that's the concept. Okay, remember, we're working up to girl math. Okay, so I have another stream. It's another 5 minutes. Maybe you can play it at, a speed up thing. So this is what a teacher says in high school, college about how he is perceiving young students. Gen Z students
What was
can barely read. Yeah, go ahead.
some of the biggest shocks for you with this new group of Gen Z students?
Biggest shocking things that as a teacher and a sympathetic teacher, I think, that you encounter when you're having to teach these kids is first of all, we think of writing and of producing material in aggregate in written words as a significant thing to do. They don't. I mean, they don't see the point of it at all. And when you try as best you can to digest that and emotionally come back in a way that is measured in tone, it's what you're then additionally having to process is just what I said. The gap between your feeling that something tragic has been excised from their life and their sense of, they're not ashamed of it. They don't really think of it as a gap that needs to be mastered at this point. There's just this disconnect here between us and them.
Yeah, so it sounds like they were.
Okay, I'm actually going to stop it there because writing to me is not necessarily by itself an interesting activity. What it tells me is that you can organize your thoughts, place them in a structure with the purpose of conveying meaning or intent. So what he's saying here is that these students can't convey intent and they don't care to. Well, you know what works like that? Emotion. Emotion's just a stream. It's a never-ending waterfall, right? You don't have to stop and organize your thoughts. You just let them fall out as they may.
Oh, is that like
So-
woman speak?
There's a similarity. So how do you get from that stream of consciousness to writing?
Well, if you want
It's
to,
discipline.
yeah.
Okay. You're in a classroom. This is what's required of you. Sit down, shut up, and learn to put these thoughts onto paper in a structured manner to concisely communicate what you're doing. It's structure,
Okay.
but it doesn't come naturally. You have to be disciplined. You have to have some discipline and authority to make this happen. And frankly, it happens in a hierarchy with someone in a position of power to say, do this and you will do it, or there will be consequences.
Now,
So interesting thing, when I was in graduate school, and I was leading classes and people were struggling, I said, look, don't bring your computer to class. Bring a notebook and learn to write down concisely what the professor is teaching. I said, and a lot of times they'd release the notes at the end of the semester anyways, but you would already have it in your mind. You're already internalizing the thought. You're processing the thought of the professor while you're writing down notes. It takes being able to use reason and simplify an argument.
so I never
The
had
more you
any
do
trouble. I never had any trouble using a computer to do that because, I mean, people say, oh, the actual physical act of writing matters. I always just found that it made my wrists hurt and then I hated doing it. And so I stopped doing it. And then it didn't help. That could just be a me personally thing. But the point of being able to understand the structure of the professor's lesson and transcribe that structure in your own words is actually a key point to trying to learning the subject matter. How do you expect to learn anything if you cannot interact with the structure of somebody else, extract the meaning out of it, and then put it in your own structure? I mean, structure that is like the core definition of learning.
Right, and everybody confuses. Well, he speaks too fast, and I can't write fast. You're not. You're missing the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
He speaks,
go
he
ahead.
speaks too fast. And you're trying to gather all the information. You're missing the point
Mm-hmm.
because he's providing all kinds of information. All you have to do is listen. And then when the guy gets to, and I'm assuming he's a male professor, when he gets to the point where this is important, he's going to slow down and he's going to state it. And then, you know what? He knows it's important because he's thinking that. And then he's going to say it again. And he's going to emphasize it. And then, if you're a good student, your radar is going to go up. Oh, shit. He mentioned that twice. And he slowed down. I think I'm going to write that thing down. And if you have that, just that little bit of wisdom at the end of the 2-week period or the course, and you look through your notes, you're going to have all the key points. Because in his mannerisms, he told you this is fucking important. Pay attention here. And the rest of it, you can kind of use as background, but everybody tells you all the key points. Am I correct, Nick?
Yeah, you'll probably get a B+, A-, maybe even better, depending on the professor. If it's just the key points, you don't even really read much of the material, or perhaps you just skim the material that, like the outside readings and stuff. Yeah, you probably do fine.
Let's keep going.
Okay.
Well,
I mean,
go ahead, Plutarch.
well, if you're trying to copy down what the professor's saying verbatim, you've already failed. Like, sorry, guys.
They were just terrible writers and they weren't even aware of it and they didn't care about it. Is that kind of correct?
Well, let me walk you a little bit further into how I came to this insight. All right, let's for your audience, where you're saying to yourself, what am I having to prepare these kids to do when they go on to college? What is it they have to do? What do I need to get them ready to do? And I'm on the other side of that, and I'm waiting for them, and I'm going to teach them. And I walk from my office, it's a brand new state-of-the-art building that's called the BAB, we refer to it. And it is just an academic building. That's the sole reason the architects built it, was to have state-of-the-art classrooms for state-of-the-art learning. And you go in there, and what does that mean? It means that all the kids are in these sort of super expensive ergodynamic rolly cars that roll around. You've got, and that's it. You've just got this space and just these roll arounds. And you're saying to yourself, what am I going to do with that? I mean, besides having them do car races or something across, you've empowered me how? And then I've got a podium on one end of this rectangle, and I've got my screen at the other. So now, unless I'm going to do something funky with, I now have to leave my notes and my presentation stand that you've given me to stand in front of the screen. And maybe I shouldn't even stand in front of that screen, because on the side, they've got 3 more screens, and then 3 screens over there, so that you can enable them, you can separate them out, you can have them now wheelied up into 6 different, all the things that they're imagining that you're going to be doing with all of this sort of untethered space that lends itself more to just the kind of psychotic arrangement, as the students just, it's too many things laid over the static that you now have to cut through. And then how many screens are they looking at? They've already got 7 in the room. And at that point, I have the writing about writing textbook. Like I said to the head of the composition program, okay, I'll do this. And her response was, Matthew, you've been here a lot longer than I have. You've won awards and stuff. You go in there and you just teach them how to write. And I said, no, that's not for $5,800. I don't. You know what I mean? Like, I've been to this rodeo decades ago. Give me my book, give me my list of stuff, and I'll run this group through it. That's what you get out of me. I'm not designing a class for you. And all.
Hi, I'm Robert Reich.
Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, we don't need to watch anymore. So I love that part at the end. No, I'm not designing a course for each special snowflake.
No.
But
That's what the government wants to do. Oh, we have a problem here. Let's waste money throw money at the problem and expect people to get it. And waste your time and not compensate you.
And did you hear what he called the layout of the room? And as he was describing it, I had the same word float through my head. Psychotic.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is a complete lack of discipline in the environment, but there's a complete lack of discipline in everyone's brain in this environment. And with 7 screens plus their phone and probably their laptop that they're trying to type on, how many of these students are actually able to pay attention to the important thing, what he's saying and doing? They got so much shit going on. Their attention, ADD, 15-second sound bites, paying attention for a 45-minute or an hour lecture. Is that even possible? Tracking through logic and staying on task for any period of time, is it even possible? Do they have the skills to do that?
It helps to have a pen and a notebook. It kind of keeps you on task. Maybe some chewing gum if you got some issues, but
Oh,
I know.
and you know what? The old-fashioned way, there was one chalkboard, and he would move. He'd use this section, and he'd go to this section, and he'd go to that section. But you know what? You were following along, so there's one place to focus on. And you had
Right.
one pencil or pen and one notebook. Okay, I'm old school. I mean, I went to school in the 80s. There was no computer. You had your notebook, and you had a pen, and you had a chalkboard, and you had no multimedia bullshit going on. It was okay. It was
How many of
easy
these
to pay
kids are
attention.
medicated on that shit to begin with, right? Especially with the influx
So
of single mother households, chaos plus also increase, psychological problems, ADD, ADHD, all sorts of bullshit where they can't pay attention. Maybe, and then you want to overstimulate these kids. Well, yeah, probably because they never had to have any responsibility. Hey, let's throw overstimulation at you on top of all of that. That's going to work out real
so
well.
remember what our topic is. It's called girl math. And I think Plutarch captured it well. The environment is chaotic.
Yes.
Psychotic.
Therefore, psychotic. Well, chaotic and psychotic. Probably describes how their mental processes are going on. So, in using girl math, isn't it application of chaotic and psychotic thought? Now, okay, I have to say this. I'm using the term girl math, and we've yet to define it. But it's imprecise thinking, irresponsible financially. As men, we've had discussions with women about financial matters, and it can be frustrating. But we've also had discussions with other men about financial issues, and it's been frustrating. A little bit less so, not quite as prevalent. But girl math is not restricted to only women. There are many men who use girl math. What do you guys think?
Girl
Well-
math to me always came across. It always came across as more self-serving. It's yes, there's a fundamental chaos to it insofar as they are completely ignoring the rules of mathematics, and they are. But what I find interesting is as with so many things with women, it often ends up that all of the chaos just happens to be to their benefit.
Oh, I have a illustration of girl math. So a woman feels that she just deserves a Louis Vuitton handbag. I mean, it's just what she's wanted. It would fulfill her. She's, you know, she's just worth it. So, but this Louis Vuitton handbag costs $1,000. Okay, I'm just pulling that number out. It might actually cost more, but for the sake of this argument, it costs $1,000. Man, that's a lot of money. But she keeps looking, and you know what? One day she finds that Louis Vuitton handbag on sale, and it's only $600. Obviously, that's such a good deal. She has to buy it. So she does, puts it on her credit card. But you know what else? He just saved $400 in that Louis Vuitton handbag, which she saved $400. Now that saved $400 is enough to pay for that new dress she wanted. So she goes out and buys the dress, and then you know what? There's still money left over, so she's gonna splurge on buying Starbucks coffee every day for the next 2 weeks. Because you know what? Didn't cost her anything. She saved $400, and so the dress and the coffee were free.
It was on her credit card, so it doesn't count.
But well, yeah, okay. So you know what? How much was charged on her credit card? The $600, the $200 for the dress, and over 2 weeks, $150 for coffee. So $950. But it was charged on her credit card. And so, as Nick says, it's not like she spent real money on that. This is an example of girl math.
All right, Steve. I actually have I have an example from a YouTube creator here. I think they actually know that it's bullshit and they're playing along with the trend, but it illustrates the concept here quite well.
Okay, Alex, I have to tell you this.
What?
I just made us $7,000.
What?
Yeah,
How?
we gotta go celebrate.
How did you make $7,000?
That's irrelevant. I think we should go celebrate. We should go out to like a nicer restaurant or maybe like a shopping spree.
How did you make $7,000?
Okay, so some of my girls in our group chat,
Yeah.
they were all like, we should go on vacation, like somewhere tropical. And I was like, yeah. But then I said no. And it would have cost about $7,000. So I just saved us $7,000, which means, girl math, we just made $7,000.
We did not make $7,000.
Yeah, we did. So I say a nice restaurant, like one of those restaurants where like you need a jacket to go in.
So you're telling me if I go back and look at our bank account right now, it's gonna have the same amount of money in it as it did 24 hours ago?
But if we would have went on the vacation, we would have had $7,000 less, baby.
Okay. That is a quintessential example of girl math in its purest form. Now, as I said, I think these people know that they're following a trend and they know what they're doing, but that's kind of what Steve's trying to describe there. He's trying to say, you know, I saved $400 by not spending $1,000. I only spent $600. So now I have $400 found dollars that I can go off and spend.
So I have been watching this guy on YouTube, Caleb Hammer. He's a young guy.
Awesome name, by the way.
I don't know. He's probably mid-20s, 27, 28. And really smart guy. Lives in Austin, Texas, I believe. and he does financial audits. Okay, so this is his business idea. He brings people in, goes through their finances, and each stream is about an hour and a half. They're very repetitive, but I've come up with some shorts, and these are beautiful. I mean, these illustrate what he's dealing with. And I want our audience to see girl math in action with a number of young women. So, Plutarch, can you go through these?
Whenever I don't have money, I'm just like, well, it'll come from somewhere, and it always does.
You have $9,000 in your retirement account. You need $75,000 in your retirement account in 4 years.
I mean, I'm still
that
contributing.
Just comes from nowhere, from hopes and dreams and wishes and wants?
I mean, I'm still contributing to it, so it's coming from me contributing.
Yeah, but not $60,000 in 4 years, is it?
I didn't even know what a 401k was until literally 2 years ago.
That's okay, but it's the philosophy of money just ends up getting there. That's not what
it does.
But that's not what, like manifesting money?
Yeah, it works every time.
No, it doesn't. No, it does. No, it can legitimately not, because you are in more debt. You have a negative net worth. So no, you're probably utilizing credit and considering that money coming.
No, I'm talking like cash. Like,
yeah, but you're still have more debt than you are worth.
Well, yeah, I know
those
that.
drugs have your brain.
Maybe a little bit.
I don't know about a little bit. Come on, you're not manifesting money. You go work, you make the money, and you make use of it.
I mean, I do make money.
You literally talked about blowing $1,000 as the conversation opener. You don't understand money. You don't know money. You don't respect money.
No, not at all. It comes and goes. Whenever I.
Well, I'm getting some deja vu, man.
Okay.
Painful to watch as a trader, as a money runner. Painful.
Hey, we got 5 of these to get through.
Some of you trad guys have women just like this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, my ex. Literally, my ex.
I live this, man. Why is my bank account in the red? I just made a whole. There's a sale. Oh, I just blew. I'm like, wait. Why did all my kids need to go to Chick-fil-A 3 times this week?
Okay, let's watch the next one. You guys have plenty of time to comment on all these.
What am I looking at here?
That is an IOU list.
For what?
Things, family.
Further proving the point. If you did not have them to fall back on, you would be dying.
We don't know that. We don't.
No. If you could not find a food pantry, you would be starving.
We don't.
Or eating out of a dumpster.
We don't know that.
What's the alternative?
Figuring it out.
$30 I owe you to dad. $60 for mom for gas. $30 grocery mom. $50 bills and extra from mom. $100 clothing from mom. $400 Vegas from mom. $500 October bills from mom. $50 mom extra spending money.
I think you need to like tone it down. That probably was inappropriate.
I don't give a shit about inappropriate.
Tone it down.
I don't like your tone. Oh, you bring facts. Let's get emotional. Oh, your tone. It's just so bad. Typical female bullshit. Let's invade by tone.
I don't believe in emergency funds or savings.
You're gonna need to explain that to me.
Did you see my savings account? There's $5.
Yes! How the possible do you not believe it?
I'm still cute and funny.
No, you're not being cute and funny right now. Huh? This is your... What are we doing here?
I want to learn
Oh
from
my
you.
gosh, how do we...
But I want to be my own person, Caleb. You need to meditate. You should have meditated like me.
Trying to figure out how to even navigate this because...
Do you want to know why I don't believe in savings?
Yes, because that was my question.
If other people believe in savings accounts, then like, for sure, go for it. I don't judge. Caleb judges.
Or I want you to be safe, but go for it.
I believe you have altruistic intentions. I really do want your advice on this repayment plan of all of these different kinds of
I tried to give you the one thing you needed.
I need a number. I need a goal.
You're a joke.
Caleb, are you going to meditate?
Amber, you're a joke. I'm not continuing this.
You're not going to give me the financial advice I literally flew here for? I don't believe it.
don't believe it. What? I can just feel the collective IQ of our viewers just drifting down to below room temperature here.
Look,
Yeah,
savings
but
accounts don't make you a lot of money. They make you a little bit of money.
okay,
I mean,
we are having
Yeah.
fun. We are laughing at this. But this is the real shit that men have to deal with. He's a financial responsible man. He's having a discussion with his wife. This is what he's encountering. Nick, am I right?
yeah,
This
just-
level of thought.
Look, I'm guessing that she didn't even think about investments, and then, like, at the bare minimum, there's not even a savings account.
Oh, she straight up said
Oh,
there's
she-
no savings account.
He had a, hey guys, be fair. She had a savings account. She had a balance of $5.
Which, if you're at a credit union, is the minimum share dollars you have to have in there to keep your fucking account open.
Okay, so this next one is a woman who's thinking about her future.
I just want to spend on credit cards
No, no,
so
no.
I don't have to pay out of the bank account.
Oh my gosh. Yes, okay. Interesting philosophy. When the bill comes, what do? I'm talking about the big bill, the interest hitting. You said you're going to pay it off before.
I'm going to pay it off before.
What's the confidence behind that? Because we haven't done that with the other ones.
Because it was a new strategy I started, I guess. So I
Explain.
decided. So I decided if I stop using my other credit cards and I just got a new credit card that was.
On this first one, you spent $3,300. I don't know what the you're talking about. Where are you paying that off? If $5,000 is coming in and you have to set 30% aside for taxes?
On my future closings. So
You're banking on future closings.
yeah, I'm gonna have closings.
That's
I'm
not guaranteed.
It is in my mind.
Oh God. So in trading, we call this trading on leverage, right? So, you don't have the money, you go out and you borrow the money, and then you place a trade on it. Every trader who's ever blown up has done something like this, and they go bankrupt and they get carried out in an ambulance, as we
Well,
say.
Yeah, they may not have money in their account, but they do have money in their mind.
They're living off hopes and wishes, not reality.
Well, yeah, look, in my mind, fine. I'll decide tomorrow, Steve, that I have $1 million in my account. And if I wake up and it's not there, well, I guess I get to be angry. And maybe I should go get some loans and credit cards or something. Okay, next.
Yeah, we got one more. Same woman this time.
What the fuck is Seven Brew? You go there every second of your life.
I live on coffee. I have to have a coffee to get every day.
Okay, great. Brew it at home.
It's not the same.
You're right. It's better. You get good beans, and it's still cheaper.
But then I have to buy something to brew it.
And it's cheaper.
I need convenience sometimes.
It's convenient. Set it to brew before you wake up. Even a Keurig is cheaper, and that's beyond convenience. What are you talking about? You're having to stand in a line and pull out a wallet. The f do you think convenience
Seven
is?
Brew, you literally just drive through. You pull up, you order.
Behind a
drive-through.
car?
No, like it literally takes 2 seconds.
Okay.
So
You know
by
what
the
takes
time I get
0
up, get
seconds?
ready.
You wake up and the coffee's already brewed. What the f is Seven Brew? You go there every second.
This is okay. This is an interesting one because it's a justification of a behavior, and she's surprised that the justification didn't fly. And that's what makes it interesting for girl math.
So, okay, this leads. Yeah, it didn't fly, but did it? Did he convince her?
Oh, no.
Oh, so who wins?
Well, okay. Let's set our conditions for winning here. Let's define it. What do you...
Okay. Is she changing her behavior?
No.
Okay. Let's assume this is a married couple. And this is a discussion between a husband and a wife. And they're going through their finances. The goal is to get it under control, which requires her to change her behavior. If she doesn't change her behavior, she wins. If he doesn't convince her, he wins. So here, okay, let me illustrate this further. Have you guys ever played the game Rock, Paper?
Rock, paper, scissors.
No, not rock, paper, scissors. Just rock, paper.
No, I've never heard that variant before.
Okay, well, this is a common game. Like every time, okay, honey, we're going to have an argument. Let's play the game of rock, paper to see who wins. Rock, paper. And every time the guy says rock, every time the woman says paper, who wins?
Well, paper always beats rock.
Okay. You lose, guys. Every time it's rock, paper. Because there is no scissors. So, okay, this seems strange. And you're wondering where I'm going with this. But you come into the argument, men use logic. They bring logic to the argument. What does a woman bring? Emotion. And every time she's using emotion and he's using logic, guess what? Emotion smothers rock. Emotion smothers logic. You go into a battle, an argument with a woman, using emotion or using logic. He's using emotion. You will never convince her. Now, I want to play this. Andrew Wilson is one of the best debaters around. So he constructed a scenario, actually define it, and get the woman to answer. And he tightly defined it using logic and to get her to answer the question. And what happened? Can you cue up this next one? We're going to play about 5 minutes of this.
The highest possible. So let me reframe.
Yeah, 10. I think everyone's a 10 up in here.
Stop and let me finish. Let me reframe the question so that you understand it better, understanding your paradigm. If 1,000 men, random, meaning, again, I can't emphasize this enough, random. In fact, repeat back the word random so I know that you know what I mean. Because I've asked this question a million times, I just need to know you know it. Yeah, random, okay. So 1,000 random men, they're at a fair, and you're in a beauty contest, and they bring you up. And they say, okay, guys, you can go from 1 to 10 on her beauty, okay? And the average of what all of you determine her beauty to be is what we'll go with. So this guy raises 2, this guy raises 4, this guy raises 7, this guy raises 10. What do you think the average, the collective of all 1,000 of the men would put you numerically?
We're going to start with you, and then we're going to ask you 4. Go ahead.
Who, me?
Yeah.
What I think that they would think of me.
Did you hear what he was saying?
He said, yeah. Yeah. It's kind of a hard question to answer.
Okay, so you answered 10.
Yeah.
So in the scenario that he gave you, what do you think they would give you? The 1,000 random men. On average.
Runes loads a complete serving of fruits, veggies.
There goes the ad. There you go.
I want to say 10. Shit.
Wow. Okay. All right. What about you? You said 8. What would the 1,000 men give you?
Average, I don't know, maybe 7, because I don't know. This is difficult because beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so.
That's why we have 1,000 beholders, and we're asking you to average what you think they'd say.
But I don't know their perception on beauty. They like Western beauty, they like blonde, blue
They like
hair.
Western beauty.
I'm not Western beauty.
Yeah, great. So anyway, they like Western beauty.
So then I wouldn't be I wouldn't
Into
apply
the
to
mic.
this. I wouldn't apply to this scenario because of people like Western beauty that's blonde hair, blue eyes, lighter skin. I'm the opposite of that.
Okay, fine. They value Eastern beauty.
She would be a 10. Still be a 10. I view myself as a 10. It just depends on what you love. Yeah,
I know that you view yourself as a 10. My question is not how
maybe
you.
they would be attracted to her just as much as she's attracted to herself.
What's my? Hang on. I just want you to repeat for me. What's my actual question to you? Can you repeat it for me?
The question that you're asking is, if there's 1,000 men, what is the average of what is the rate that they're going to give you on average, based off of the 1,000 men that are looking at you in the beauty pageant?
Yes.
Am I
Can you
taking?
answer
Is that
my
correct?
question?
That's correct. Right?
They're gonna rate you a 10.
So answer the question.
Like she said, depending on where we are, like if I'm in.
Okay, you're out
Middle
in
East,
for
or
the
if I'm
love of God. You're in east. You're as east as you can go, or as central east, wherever the fuck
No,
you
'cause
want.
this
I don't
matters.
care.
That's why I'm like,
Whatever
it
you
has
think
to
it'll be.
Okay, yeah. If it was in my side of where I was raised, where I was blood born, then yeah, that would be a 10. But if I was in America, where I was
Where
blood.
were you born?
Egypt.
Where's that?
Well, I'm Egyptian. We're full blood Egyptian.
You think it'd be a 10 in Egypt?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I already know that.
All right. And so then.
So all 1,000 men would hold up a sign saying
Yes.
10.
Yes, 100%.
Oh, okay.
And then.
And now I just want you to look at me and say, Andrew, I just want these words. Can you look right in the camera? Just look at the camera. Whatever camera's the closest to you, look right at it and say, Andrew, I'm not delusional. Every man in Egypt would say I'm a 10.
No, I'm not saying that because that's not. See, your words are very manipulative. You just said
Oh, no, they're
1,000.
not. If it's
then
1,000 out of 1,000,
every man. But yeah, I would think that I would love to
have a
think.
sample size higher than 1,000
I would
out
love
of
to think
1,000
that I would love to think that every man in Egypt finds me beautiful. Yes, I would love to think that. That is
Well,
my opinion
question
on
isn't
myself.
what you like to think. My question is what you actually think.
That is what I think. Your question is what I like to think is what I think.
It's not even valid.
It's about my self-love and
Why
how I
isn't my
perceive
question
myself.
valid?
Because how are we supposed to know what other men think? I'm a woman. I don't have the mind
Well,
of
I'm
a
not.
man.
I'm not.
I
I'm
don't
not
know.
asking you to know what
You
they
are
think.
asking me. You're asking me to. How would they judge me? How am I supposed to know?
Yeah, I'm just asking what you think they would guess.
I don't know. Whatever they guess. Like, you know what I mean? It's an invalid
Okay.
question.
I'll take
It's an invalid question. Okay, hang on. I got it. It's an invalid question. If a bird hit that window doing 1,000 miles an hour, what do you think would happen?
They would die.
A little bit more.
A little bit more.
Oh, wait. Suddenly, when it comes to a hypothetical, you can, even though it hasn't happened, you don't know exactly what would happen. You can somehow make a guess as to what would happen. But in this case, your brain, it's empty. You have no idea what they'd ever say.
You're hurting my brain.
Yeah, I'm sure. And every Egyptian man would agree with me.
No, they wouldn't.
I don't even think we
Yeah,
should
okay.
grant.
Okay.
You're hurting my brain.
Well, that's probably
Okay.
true.
Yeah. So again, to what I wanted to demonstrate there. What did Andrew bring to that discussion? Logic. He outlined it, airtight, precise answer, no wiggle room. And he went to the women. They used their emotion. You know what? If I said lower, I would feel bad about myself. I'll wiggle around. Oh, you know what? I'm not the typical beauty. I guess this doesn't apply to me because I'm a special snowflake. But then, oh no, they would still all agree with me. I'm a 10. Okay, so their answers are self-serving. It's emotion smothers logic. And you know what? What is solipsism? Either of you guys have the definition for solipsism, or can you search it?
I'll search it just to give you something concise.
Well, I've got it up here. The theory that the self is the only thing that can be known and verified. Also, egotism.
So it's impossible to know the mind of any one man or even the average mind of 1,000 men because they're not me. All I can know is myself, and I think I'm a 10. Therefore, everything is based on my perspective. Is this not solipsism?
It is, but solipsism is fundamentally retarded because the next question you ask is, if only I can know myself and only you can know yourself, then I can know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are not uncertain. That you can be known. I think the mistake that's being made here is this idea that because we can't know completely, that we can't know at all. I think that's the
You
mistake.
can't even know yourself completely. The heart is deceitful above all things. Who could know it, says the Lord. Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Plutarch described it well. Since we can't know completely, we can't know. Now, have you ever been in a discussion with a woman? And you say,
Every day.
well, generally, this is how it works. And
They
she'll
hate
say,
that.
nuh-uh, because I know this case where it didn't work that way. So she's negating what's generally true by some exception, and it might be the most lame, contrived exception. But if she can invent an exception, that is proof that what's generally true isn't. Therefore, you can't know anything about the future because you can't predict the future because that exception might happen.
So this is the universals or the diversity and unity universe. So universals, particulars. It's old philosophical debate. It's the death of meaning by 1,000 exceptions or particulars that don't fit a certain universal, whereby you can pick a universal apart, or that you can't know everything in its whole entirety in its unity and diversity. But however, it's not a problem if you are a finite being. Yet you're created by an infinite being who knows everything perfectly in all unity and diversity. Oh, and you're made after his image. So you can know, but you're not going to know fully because you were never designed to know everything fully. You're not God. Imagine that. Okay, get over yourself.
So, how okay, I've kind of established that in a discussion, emotion smothers logic. And this happens a lot in financial discussions. Women are using emotion to make their financial decisions. So if you're in a discussion with your woman, you come with logic, she comes with emotions. And since emotion smothers logic, how can the man win?
Okay,
Oh.
well.
Okay, I got a solution to this. Remember when I said playing the game rock paper? And he says, well, I've never played that. It's rock paper scissors. Oh, okay. Go through rock paper scissors. Here's the rules. Paper covers rock. Rock smashes scissors. Scissors cuts paper. Okay, well, if you eliminate scissors, there's only one rule. Paper covers rock. Okay, now I mentioned logic and emotions in an argument. So if one side brings logic, the other side bring emotions, who wins? Well, go to rule number 1. Emotion smothers logic. There is no other rule. Now, what do we have to bring in? Authority. So now think about this. Oh, the whole game has changed. Emotion smothers logic. Yeah, I can accept that. Logic defeats authority. Okay. Yeah, you get in a discussion with a man and he says, no, it's going to be this way. And you can calmly present why logic says that's not a good idea. Yep, you can win. But authority trumps emotion. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you feel about this. This is what we're going to do. can emotion win against the authority? No. So that's my conclusion. When men do not bring the authority with them, do not know they possess authority, they're going to lose.
Yep.
Now, okay, further. Can a man use emotion in an argument and win?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Not very rarely.
Well, no, what I was going to say is you might think you won. But if you're having an emotional fight with a man, all you're going to do is prove that you can't actually fight. If you're having an emotional fight with women, okay, she's going to drag you down to her level and then beat you with commensurate experience. So no, like it doesn't work.
So a man really
emotional
cannot
detachment.
choose.
Choosing
A man
to be
really
emotionally
cannot choose
detached can
emotion.
Yeah.
Yes, emotionally detached, but that's the absence of emotion, not emotion.
Yeah.
So, can a woman use authority to win an argument?
They do all the time.
Yeah, I was going to say this gets tricky because like if you're in a work situation, you have a female boss, she actually can.
Yes, but can your wife legitimately use authority over
Only
her
if I
husband?
let her.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What is legitimate? What is illegitimate?
Oh, she will feign authority. He may be a weak man. She may wear the pants and wield authority, but is it legitimate authority? Is it the way it's supposed to be? Does she only have the authority because he kowtows to her? Did he give her the authority?
There's three things. The bed's already dry and he doesn't want any more problems or any more dryness. He'll settle for the starfish sex every once in a while, even though he hates it. And he's helpless because she can appeal to both church and civil authorities if he does not get in line.
True enough. So he gave her the authority. Is he gonna get sex by appeasing her?
No.
Is she eventually gonna get so disgusted with his pansy ass ways that she's gonna dump him anyway?
Yep.
Yeah. So you know what? Her authority is feigned authority. It's a dead end. It's like men using emotions in an argument. It's not a good look on her. He's stretching there.
Well,
authority really belongs to the man.
This is tied into Elena put out this video. I actually wrote the script for it, but she was talking about how when women lose respect for a man, they don't get it. It never comes back. And the red pill,
it literally takes an act of God.
Right. And the red pill has spent 20 years figuring out that once it's gone, it's never coming back, and you should just accept that. Okay. Respect and authority are intrinsically intertwined. Okay. I can have the authority over people and not have their respect. Okay. You can, but it's not going to work very well. Okay. And you can have respect without authority, but it doesn't achieve anything. It doesn't accomplish anything. If you as a man give up authority, she has no further reason to respect you. And that's what I mean when I say they're interlinked, they're intertwined. You're not going to have a relationship without authority, because she cannot have a relationship with you without respect.
Okay, let's talk about the way things should be. A man possesses logic and authority. He can use one or the other. So let's assume man uses authority to prevail in a discussion over her emotion. Says, nope, this is the way it's going to be. Is that the final say? She keeps coming at him with emotion to get him to change his mind, and his authority says no.
99.9% of the time, yes. And
okay, so
they're
what
always
can
gonna
she
think they
do?
got the point. She's gonna always think she's always gonna think she's the 0.1%.
Oh, well, yes, they all
Yeah.
do.
But what can she do? Let's go back to the beginning of this whole stream. What could she do?
Well, she could try to shame you for wielding that authority.
True. Okay, that's emotion.
Exactly.
Let's say she's a good woman and she says, okay, emotion's not going to win. What can she do?
Poison you with your friends. Poison you at the church.
Come on, guys.
Well, no.
She can use logic. Logic is not forbidden. It's not poison to women. Women are not forbidden from using logic. Women need training and education and discipline to use logic. That early training from their father and in school was about learning to use logic. And we all know that, okay, if I'm in charge and I have some men working under me, I make a decision based on my authority. And one of the guys comes up to me and says, well, can we discuss this? Sure. Have you thought of this? I don't know that this is your best approach because of these consequences. No, shit. I think you're right. How did he get you to change your mind? Logic. That's how logic can defeat authority. Now, a woman can move from emotions to logic. Very few women have the skills to do that. And it takes training. And I'd say even fewer, almost zero young women with our education system have the ability to use logic. And unfortunately, your average young man hasn't been trained to use logic either. Everybody, well, I won't say everybody, predominantly younger people are making all their decisions based on emotions. Even men, but women to a greater extent. Do you agree or disagree?
A lot of men too, because they're raised without fathers. They have not been told, not been taught how to have that proper discipline.
Well, if we go back to the teacher lessons, because I was thinking about this going, a lot of fathers and sons, it's almost like the sons pick it up by osmosis, for lack of a better term. Like they see their fathers doing it and they just do it. Now, I think young women kind of pick it up from their dads, but not to the same extent. And to that, you could probably go to differences in brain wiring for an explanation. But what's interesting to me is, those teachers in the beginning were talking about how they just couldn't get these children to understand formal logic. Okay, well, if you've never been around even informal logic, what hope do you have of walking into a higher learning institution and learning formal logic? You don't. But if you're around your dad, even as a woman, you might pick up some basic, hey, we'll just say basic if then else logic, right? You think about those Caleb Hammer videos, these women totally incapable of if then else logic. And if then else logic is like one of the basic, Boolean logic is one of the basics of logic. I work with it every day. I actually have to go figure one out after the end of this video. But men can kind of learn if then else in the form of I put my hands on something hot. If I put my hand on something hot, then it hurts. And if I don't put my hand on something hot, then it doesn't hurt. Right? And as, if you're particularly as young men, if you're around your dad, he's going to put you in situations more often where those kinds of situations, where those kind of outcomes are going to happen. I see Steve loading something up here.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good lead in. So, you implied women can be educated to doing this. Let's fine tune that. So I'm going to add this one and let's play this. And
I have my bachelor's and my master's in economics.
What the? No way.
Yeah.
Then this, are you from? Doesn't even matter from where. Did they not teach you? What is happening? You graduated and with a master's?
Yeah.
Guys, if you think your qualifications only come from a degree, watch this episode. But you don't know how to budget?
Apparently not.
You don't want to do anything with that?
I do. It's really hard right now to find a job.
What do you mean?
I've been applying for what?
Two?
Analyst positions, consulting positions.
Where are you as a consultant?
I've been on LinkedIn.
Well done. Okay.
But I have been looking.
Okay. How many jobs do you apply to a week?
Usually like 6 a week.
Okay, shut the f up. That's not even close to enough. That's not enough a day.
Really?
Kidding me?
I have my bachelor's in
Yeah,
Oh, God.
Shu Tai had apparently she must have been a
Student of
that
Keen's.
theorist. How apt. Bravo, Shu.
So, okay. There's so much here on this one. Oh God. First of all, economics is not finance degrees. We need okay, like that's the first thing. No, your qualifications don't matter. When he says on LinkedIn how many you should be applying to, the answer per week is probably closer to 100 to 150 per week, not 6.
okay, back to your first point.
Okay, go ahead.
Economics is not, or finance is not economics. Yes. Okay. But does someone with a finance degree just get in some economics? Should they have enough economics training and maybe even a bit of accounting to be able to do a budget?
Yes, but they'd have to want to.
Oh, so education is not necessarily enough to actually function and do a budget. What is the missing component?
Discipline.
That would be it. Where does a woman learn discipline?
Father.
Mm-hmm. And what is necessary for someone to learn discipline? Why is Caleb unsuccessful in teaching these women anything? Why is Andrew unsuccessful? What do they lack?
Authority.
Uh-huh. A father has authority over the daughter and sons. A husband has authority over the wife. And remember, in my analogy of rock, paper, scissors, logic, emotion, authority. You need the authority. That's why you cannot teach or prevail or advise an unattached woman. You have no authority over her. Save your breath.
But isn't that an appeal to authority, a logical argument? You're using logic, saying, you're not supposed to have an appeal to authority.
Okay, I see where you're going with it. It's not the same thing.
I
Appeal
know.
to authority should more be appeal. Should be really phrased appeal to an authority. And
that's an appeal to an external factor. So
yeah,
I win. I'm appealing to an external authority. No. And in this argument, no, I'm not appealing to anybody. I have the authority. The answer is no.
And
more men said that to those under their authority. Okay, there is no more discussion. Now you can come back.
So
you
is
have
power
some
everything?
logical things. You can come back and discuss it, but no emotions. Use logic. Otherwise, the answer is no. This discussion is over.
I would say power and authority are okay. Maybe this works, maybe it doesn't, but I would say they're slightly different. Power can and frequently is exercised capriciously. It's often done primarily for the sake of aggregating more power to oneself. That is the chief end of power is to acquire more power. Power is not given, it's taken. Authority is given. Okay, Nick, my authority as a husband comes from
my God nature, ultimate
right.
God. Yeah.
My authority is given to me. The Bible enumerates how and what my authority is, correct?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not the same thing as power. Power is taken. I take power from somebody else. It could be as simple as, just slapping them on the face or all the way up to murder, right? All those for forms of taking power. I don't have the authority to do it. I have the power to do it. And that's how I view them differently. My authority is given to me. Power is taken.
So if a woman has the authority, who gave her the authority?
Well, almost in every case I've dealt with, the guy gave her the authority by either giving up or that's how he was trained.
Because God gave him the authority,
right?
And he gave it to her,
right?
Yeah. So whose fault is it that he's in a situation he is in? He gave away his authority, I guess, by definition. He caused the problem that he's in. Now, he might have been up against a really nasty situation and thought that was the wisest thing to do.
Sure.
But he still gave up his authority.
There can be two sins. The woman can take the authority and can take the authority by power, and you can still sin for relinquishing it. I don't know, Nick, am I off base there?
Yeah, you're in sin for relinquishing your authority.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. There can be two sins there, right? Now, if I am the guy and I relinquish authority, and I think we probably don't teach. I know the church doesn't teach this.
There's sin of commission and sin of omission.
Right, yeah,
So
yeah,
like
yeah.
relinquishing is a sin of omission.
Right. Well, and the church doesn't. What the church isn't teaching is that once you relinquish, there's no getting it back. This goes back to what I was talking about.
Even on the fifth commandment, the Westminster Standards talk about superiors that need to talk about the duty to maintain your authority.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
no, you have to do the typical disclaimer. I do. Just because you have authority does not mean you have to wield it and use it like a tyrant. You can use your authority in a peacekeeping manner. Remember back to the beginning where the woman was talking about how it is in the classroom. She has no authority because she says, she wants to separate students, and they always have to ask, well, you need to give me an explanation. She just wants to say, no, do it. I have my reasons. That's authority. A man does not have to explain everything. And if the man does not have the authority over his wife and his children, then it's going to be the children that go into school with that same damn attitude and causing all the problems in the school, because what keeps the classroom civil is the father's authority, which he has taught to his children to be disciplined, to behave themselves when they're not in his presence. Okay, guys, you don't exercise your authority, you are leading to the destruction of our civilization. Go ahead, Nick.
So when I got the worst part of getting in trouble at school was not getting in trouble in school. It was dad finding out.
Yep.
So I didn't want to get in trouble in school. I acted well because I didn't want my dad to find out, because I knew it'd be way worse if daddy found out.
Okay, Steve, I want to go back to something you were saying a little bit earlier. So I'm the married guy in the room, and I have a wife who is actually capable of using logic. So what that often ends up happening is I will say, no, we're not doing that. And then the very next question out of her mouth is, well, why not? Explain it to me. So you're right, we don't have to explain ourselves. But if you just run around not explaining yourself all the time, you're kind of actually doing the tyrant thing. And frankly, if she's in a place, because sometimes it's the well, why not isn't like this out of anger. It's she literally just wants to know why I said no. And you can tell from her voice. Well, most guys can tell from her voice what she's, what mood or state she's in. If she's being emotional, I won't respond right away, because I know she is not well, why not is just really, she's just trying to trap me into, she's trying to use logic to trap me into thinking her way. But if it's more of a contemplative, well, okay, why not? Then we can sit down and have a conversation about it. Now, I can't always have the conversation right that moment. Could be walking out the door, sometimes it's a safety issue. I've got to stop you from doing something. And then once the situation has resolved itself, then we can talk about it. And this is why the ability to exercise authority has to come first. Sometimes I have to reach out, grab you by the scruff of your neck, yank you away from the cliff, and then we can have a conversation, right?
I agree. And I'm glad you made that clarification, because I certainly was not advocating saying no and then refusing to explain yourself. No, many times you should and can, and it's a teaching moment and it facilitates communication. But first, follow what I say, because sometimes I don't have time to explain, but I'm responsible for the outcome, and this is for your own good. So just do it. We'll discuss it later. And that's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I'm not going to say that all women are okay with this. What I will say is my wife, Elena, has watched it work out enough where I will say no and she'll go, okay. And she understands that I might not have articulated a reason in advance like these gentle parents are doing, where we have to, I don't give her this panoply of options to choose from. I say nope. And then as the situation warrants, we can go back and discuss it. And she actually learns quite a bit. Now, she doesn't always follow it. Sometimes I have to yank her by the scruff of her neck more than once. Humans are human. You have to have a little bit of understanding here. Honestly, guys, if you treat women like children, maybe 8 to 9 years old, you'll probably get about where you need to go with how to deal with them. An 8 to 9-year-old can have a conversation using logic. It's not going to be their default mode of operation. They're not going to want to do it, but they can.
So, remember, the title of this is Girl Math. And that's just evidence of how women tend to use emotions to determine how they think and believe and whatnot. Facts, yeah, you don't have money, it's not working financially. The numbers on the paper don't work for what you're doing. But I feel, and so they're going on their feelings. Okay, we see this all the time. This show is also a demonstration of the failure of using logic against a woman's emotions. Doesn't work. And I demonstrated that with Andrew. And so, okay, this is all the information. Us red pill guys, we take in all this information. We see this, and then, we get frustrated. Oh, those damn women, you can never do anything, blah, blah, blah. I'm black pill. I'm not dealing with them. Yeah, that's not the answer. So this is kind of a demonstration for all of you people out there, men out there. You look at the information, bring it in, form a working model, ask yourself, what is missing from this? And then apply, think about it. What's missing? And if you apply that missing thing, would it change? Well, what I wanted to establish here is the missing thing in this difficulties is authority. And when you bring in authority, hey, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Well, and to drive this home, part of the reason, and this is not to knock on the efforts of men like Caleb and Andrew. They are out there doing hard work, but you'll notice that the work doesn't ever seem to really land, right? These women don't really change their minds. They don't, they look, particularly on the Caleb stuff, that 99% of the women who leave that show are not going to change a thing about how they live. Right. And it comes down to the fact that he doesn't have the authority to tell them no. He can logic them to death. He can use literal math, literal. And I personally have heard girls say, well, I don't care what the math says. That's great. The numbers don't care that you don't care. But you can't, but that's an example of when you would have to step in as an authority and say, okay, you're so far out to lunch irrational that I can't have a logical discussion with you, because going back to Steve's analogy, logic doesn't work against emotion. Logic works against authority, right? Now I have to go to authority because the only thing I have to get through your emotion is that authority, that nope, not doing this. And if you're not going to listen to why, then sorry, we're not having this discussion. We're doing something else. Andrew can't do that on whatever. Caleb can't do that on his show. It's not to knock on these guys. Really, it shows just how poorly their upbringings are. That they could be and likely are children of single mommies. Or their father, or they might as well have been children of single mommies because their moms castrated their dads. Figuratively, if not literally. Well, yeah. If they, and that's what this goes back to, so we've talked about, how the marriage ceremony is the father handing the daughter off. That's a metaphor for handing off the authority from the father to the husband. Of course, we don't teach that anymore.
Wrong, but it can't be the same authority. He can't treat me like a child. My husband treats me like a child.
Actually, yes, it is the same authority. Like the whole purpose of that ceremony of him walking her down the aisle is to say, you man now have the same authority I did. That's the whole point of it. Am I wrong?
Well, I think some women. So I had to live with this with a previous experience, right?
Yeah.
Anytime you lay down the law, you're treating me like a child. You're not supposed to, Christ's love for the church, blah, blah, blah. You can't treat me like a child. That's not how real authority is supposed to be used. I'm going to call the elders.
Thankfully,
Yeah,
my ex
that is-
wasn't as bad about the whole church side of it, but she used the same arguments.
That's the appeal to authority, Nick.
Yes.
She would appeal to authority to subvert your authority.
Absolutely.
Well, I've covered what I wanted to cover in this stream.
We're on time. I'm not sure this is allowed, Steve.
Yeah, well, I said it was going to be fun and simple and maybe educational. I hope our audience liked this one. Hope they learned something.
Rock, paper, scissors, gentlemen. It's that easy.
You got to have authority.
Yep.
Hey, have you noticed a lot of my stuff that I come up with is in 3? Whoa, what's that thing? Oh, IPA guilt.
Right.
Oh, what do men want? RSVP.
SVP.
Oh,
Steve
how do you
thinks
win
in threes.
arguments? Rock, paper, scissors.
Paper, scissors.
You know what? You bring in the 3, and somehow things all of a sudden start to make sense.
Oh, yeah. ABC. We forgot that one.
Yeah, we did forget that one.
Which one's that, Steve?
Abortion, birth control,
and
circumcision.
circumcision.
That kind of subvert the sexual act.
Okay, well.
So we got another one from Steve. All right.
RPS, rock, paper, scissors. Also, rounds per second for all of my 2A aficionados out there. So, Steve, we were talking beforehand, and I think we were noodling on an idea for next week. What was it?
I'm not going to be here, though.
Oh. Okay, Nick, you and I will have to get together and think of it.
Okay, here is my question. Because I have feelings on it, but I don't have a conclusion. So there's all this talk about Trump bringing back, make America great again, bring back manufacturing to this country. So we need to bring back our industry. Okay, great. It requires money and effort. You bring it back here, then we need the workers to actually make stuff. To go in and work those factory jobs. Well, that requires discipline. It requires a work ethic. And we've also heard about the Gen Z. There's been complaints about Gen Z workers, not just women, about the men too, about not really wanting to put in the effort, not the discipline to show up on time, to put in a hard day's work, to get their hands dirty. They want to work from home. So if we brought this industry back to the US, do we have a workforce that can be developed to go and actually hold those jobs? That's my question to Plutarch.
Oh, okay. We're going there. Okay.
But
So
I don't know. Are we going there? Do we want to tackle this?
I can go there. I don't know. Nick, you still got time?
Right now?
I don't know that.
Yeah.
I don't know that we want to tackle it now.
Well, I can
This
do
might-
a quick rundown of my view on it.
Okay.
So my view on this is all older generations complain about the young generations. And all young generations complain about the old generations. I think it was it Ezekiel or was it Ecclesiastes? There's nothing new under the sun. This is one of them. However, to some extent, in this case, both sides are right. So Steve, when you said that the younger generation doesn't want to work with their hands, they want to work in, work from home. That's broadly speaking true. However, the complaints that the younger generation has about the elder generations are also broadly speaking valid. So we're in this weird spot where, yes, this thing has been true. The older generation is complaining about the fact that the younger generation doesn't want to work. As you guys know, I've been heavily involved in the H-1B debate, which blew up again last night on Twitter. And one of the things that happened was yet another TradCon basically just took himself out via unforced errors by saying, oh, well, you should just go get it. He was talking to these young college kids. They just got their degree. They can't get a job. They've been looking for 18 months or more. And he's like, oh, well, you should just go work for Panda Express. They'll pay you $100,000 as a manager. Yeah, exactly. And everyone just kind of went, are you fucking kidding me? So you told us to go to school so that we wouldn't flip burgers. And then when we can't get a job doing what you told us to do, your answer is go flip burgers. So there is an incredible amount of solipsism in the older generation's view of the younger generation. And I have spent actually a good portion of my day-to-day on my other Twitter account. I just created a new one for the Resurgence, basically hammering away at this idea that all you have to do is just work harder, bro. It's not about working harder. And the other thing is Gen Z right now.
Pull
Steve,
yourself
your
up
point,
by your bootstraps.
yeah,
As
bootstraps.
Kathy says. Yeah.
To your point specifically, Steve, Gen Z is filling out the trade schools at a rate never before seen on any generation in U.S. history. So the idea that
that's really smart. I applaud them.
they're going where the opportunity is. And so, it's like we say they don't want to work, and that's true. But if you go read Strauss and Howe, the generational archetype for Gen Z is what he would call the artisans. These people love doing that sort of work where they can really just put their hands on it and make it beautiful. I actually have a cousin who's doing this in the automotive. He's now doing custom body work for old cars. Like very, very cool stuff. Working with his hands. He's very Gen Z. It's hysterical how perfectly he fits the stereotype. But here's the thing. We don't want to talk about those guys because those guys also have the same complaint that all of the other ones, all of the millennials have about things like imported labor and suppressed wages. I had to do one this morning with a guy where he was like, well, you're actually your life is better than mine was. And he was trying to, and I went, no, if we if we do 1975 constant dollars, which is a way to say inflation adjusted, your salary today is housing has gone up 60%, and you've lost 60% of your house purchasing power, and you've lost 27% of your total purchasing power. If you lock it to 1975, when the first boomer or the last boomer could start working at the age of 14, early as possible, 1975 is this huge date that shows up where everything goes just bonkers. And so, no, the answer is there. When the Gen Zs and the millennials are complaining about this stuff, they are mathematically correct. And so, when the when the elders complain about how the younger people just don't want to work, man, what they're actually saying is youngers do not want to work at the rates at what I am willing to pay them, because I have decided that they're asking for too much on the basis of what I was able to do 30 years ago. I had another one where
I don't understand this because, I graduated with my engineering degree in 1985. And my 1st job in 1986, I was making $30,000 a year. And in 1987, in the beginning of the year, I bought my first house for $30,000.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I don't see how young people cannot get a job and go out and buy their first house within a year of working, because I did it.
And this is and maybe you guys can
So
help me
this is
with
like the intro to Cappy's boomer videos. I don't know if anybody's
it
seen
is.
Aaron Clary stuff.
Get in mind, my first house I bought for 1 times my annual income. Okay, it was Duluth. It was an old house. It needed some work. 1 time my annual income.
Well,
is that at all? And okay, 30,000 as an engineer, as in the oil and gas. Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty damn good. I mean, that probably most engineers would probably make in 24.
Yeah,
I was probably 20% above average.
So Nate,
my situation was just a total sweetheart deal. I mean, that's not repeatable.
So Nate, new commenter in the chat, haven't seen before. Welcome in. He says, so they need a salary of $400K now to do 1-to-1 median income. This is exactly correct. The average house in the United States.
No.
To match what
I didn't buy the average house. No, I didn't.
Okay.
It would be equivalent of 200. You're not buying the average house. You're buying a piece of shit livable house in a lower area of town. No, it's not at that level.
But okay, let's work with your math, because 400 is the median across the entire United States of home sales for 2024.
This is enjoyable. Keep going, guys. I'm smoking it.
Okay. But let's use 200. The average salary in the United States for 2024 was $59,000. I looked this up this morning. So near as makes no difference, it's 1/4, and we're talking about buying a shit box that needs work. We're not talking about buying an average median home. We're talking about a shit box that needs work, and they're not going to do that 1-to-1.
And the shit box that needs the average income is the average worker, not the guy in his early 20s who is at the age get married, start a family, blah blah blah.
I looked this up too. Does anyone want to guess what the average starting salary in 2025 is for the just nationwide?
35?
35. It's 35.
Oh wow, that's a good guess.
35. Steve, your starting salary in 1980, after experiencing almost 400%.
1986.
Okay, 1986. After experiencing, we'll call it I'll be generous. I'll say after experiencing an aggregate of 350% inflation, the starting salary has gone up $5,000.
Now, just to put this in perspective, purchasing power, just pulling an accurate number, it's 1/3. So the equivalent of 30,000 would be 90,000
Roughly.
in round
roughly.
numbers.
It's close.
So that would mean an entry level engineer could make 90. Now, and that would mean, an experienced engineer should make 1.5 times that in the business. So that would be 140 or 135, 140. I don't think you're gonna. Maybe in software and some of the hot areas, you're gonna be making 135, 140 as an engineer. Not, you're lucky to be making somewhere over 100, 110, 120, at least in the Midwest. And are you going to start at $90,000 in the flyover country? Hell no.
No.
maybe in California, maybe on the East Coast in certain areas, maybe. But no, you're going to be starting out around 65, 70. So you folks that are graduating today absolutely fallen behind what the opportunity I had in the mid 80s. Salaries have not kept up.
Steve, can you help me with something? And maybe Nick, you can too, because I have encountered this numerous times in the past 24 hours and it's frustrating me. Multiple people, men and women, have made this argument, and it goes something like, I don't understand why these young people can't do this. Insert 20, 30 years ago, I bought a house and I worked hard and I made it happen. And so why can't they do that today? It's
You're
like there's
assuming a constant environment.
Yeah, but is there like a term for this logical fallacy? Is it normalcy bias or something?
They're using an inductive. So you have to think it's not logically, but scientifically. They're approaching it logically, but there's an inductive element there.
Right, because
you're
it's
assuming you're assuming that the economics are the same. You're assuming that the laws are the same, loans are the same. Inflation's the same. You're assuming that the currency to what you make is the same. The salary range is the same. Cost of living is the same. You're assuming a lot of factors.
Right, and all I can do is spurg dump on these people with the actual data. And I'm enough of a spurg that I'll put the sources in there. But when I do that, then I get this response that is literally, some of them will actually just say this, then just work harder. To one of them, I had to say, I will make sure to let my wife know that my 60-hour work weeks are insufficient and that she should accept that I need to do more. And they were kind of like, yeah, sounds great. And I'm sitting here going, what the actual fuck? You never worked like that. And I'm wondering if there's some delusion going on. Yeah, Nate. Yeah, Shaw, work harder, bro. Nate, about what these people had to deal with when they were younger, because they keep coming out. Well, it's equivalent of we had to walk to work in the snow both ways uphill. It's like they're constantly trying to outdo what you have to do. And if you say you work 60 hours a week, they'll say, well, I had to work 80. And it's like, no, you didn't.
Well, there's ignorance of reality. They are demonstrating ignorance of reality. What is real today? What is reality out there today? They are living on the island of should be. Well, things should be this way. And they're assuming that conditions never changed from what they experienced. No, conditions change. Reality today is not the same reality you experienced.
So what they experienced was generations building up a great society for them. Yeah, I don't believe in the great society of Lyndon B. Johnson. He can go after himself. Um, but you have these generational wealth, generational is passed down. Then what did these boomers do? They fucked everything else after them. No,
Well,
not every boomer does that, but in a general way, no, you don't build anything. No, your kid's 18, kick him out the house.
well, I find
Oh,
it
you want to have a
interesting. I find it interesting that the boomers, I mean, I have to credit Aaron Clary for this because he's the one who brought it up, but boomers are the most likely to hate their children. And I don't even necessarily mean that in some, ephemeral sense, of just like, oh, they just nebulously hate the younger generations. I mean, they will do things to their biological offspring that you look at and you go, are you fucking nuts? How, and the answer is always some form of, well, it was hard for me, so it needs to be harder for them, and this is how they're going to
Okay.
learn and pull themselves up.
You guys know, you've heard the term beer goggles, right?
Yes.
So for those who don't know that, it's when a beer goggles is when a man goes in a bar, drinks a few beers, and all of a sudden the women start looking better. It improves the look. Well, now I'm going to talk about boomer goggles.
Okay.
Boomer goggles are from their delusion. They think things are easier than they actually are for the younger people. They're just looking at the world through their boomer goggles.
Yeah. I have a lot more to say on this topic, and we don't need to go there. I said it before, and we did a stream on the H1B thing a couple weeks ago. You guys can go watch that if you want to. I gave lots of examples, but the thing that I've learned over the past couple weeks, staying involved in this, is we are sitting on a tinderbox of anger. The younger generations have just about had it with boomers. And I read this great quote. It was, and I think I even sent it to Nick. It was, you have your sin, speaking to boomers, is that you so hate and revile your children, that you reject and revile your children. So the consequence of your sin will be living long enough to see your children hate or revile and reject you. And I don't know exactly what that looks like, but to boomers, at a minimum, here's what I'm going to say. Don't be surprised if Social Security just magically disappears on you one day. It already has a funding problem that's caused by your children not being able to work at a high enough salary to put money in to the Social Security, to pay money into Social Security taxes.
Those damn young kids are just not working hard enough. Now they're going to deprive me of my retirement. I knew
Oh, yes.
that
Hell
there was
yes.
something wrong with them.
Fuck yes, I will. You fucker me, I fucker
Oh,
you.
wait a minute. I was channeling that boomer energy again.
Nate, we actually did a whole stream on the exit polls. It's called Gaps if you want to go watch it. That was it was a Steve idea. And yes,
It was fun.
It was a lot of fun. Almost nobody watched it, but if you want to go watch it, you can go look at our reactions to that. The shifts that are happening underneath, I find it fascinating that Strauss and Howe called this 35 years ago. Almost to the year. Not quite. They were off by a couple of years, but when you're making a prediction 35 years in advance, I'll grant you a couple. The the reason I say that is because here's what I think comes next. I think the population has decided that something will be done. I think that was the change that this election represented. Something's going to be done. Right now, before this election, Biden, Trump, Obama, we were kind of we were negotiating, well, does something need to change? How much needs to change? What direction? No. The decision to change has been made. Now we're negotiating over how much change is going to be done. And I think that's what you see in the exit polls. So,
yeah, and we're also discussing which direction the change is, because the H-1B question, there's two factions out there. There's a group that wants more of the moneyed elite, I would say, and the masses that say, no, hell no. Which way is it going to go?
Well, I know my vote because I'm a stats guy. I vote with the masses. In this country, over all others, the masses have the ability to, even if the ballot box fails them, they will just kinetically affect the change they want. And
yes, but there's a propaganda war.
Yes, there
that is heating up because they thought they could coerce the people into going with it. And they floated out a narrative and it just fell flat.
Oh, Steve, okay, question for you.
That's great.
This is a question I've been asking other people, and I'll ask it here. Do you think that Trump thinks that MAGA is a cult of personality and that people will just go with whatever he says is going?
No.
No, I don't.
But I don't think that he was willing to say things that other people weren't willing to say and get flack for it.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's a movement. It's like in the rodeo. It's that bull called MAGA. Trump is under the delusion that he can ride that bull.
Okay. So,
but you know what? That's a tough bull to ride.
Populism always is, just looking historically. So what you're saying is kind of where I've gotten with this as well, is to say Trump may think he is MAGA and MAGA will do whatever he says is good. I think one of the things that the H-1B debate brought to light is that MAGA to the masses meant make America great again, comma, for Americans. Where for Trump, he says he thinks make America great again for the GDP or the stock market, right? Some line on a chart going up. Because look, if that's what you want, then yes, bringing in more H-1Bs is the correct way to do it. You get more production for cheaper. Yeah, the quality is less, but who cares? You've already turned the money into GDP by the time, the quality issues become relevant. And yeah, you're going to pay for that later when you have to fix stuff. Here's another idea to throw out. Because I for whatever reason, I get a lot of military guys in my feed. How is it, just from a pure national security standpoint, how is it a good idea to ship so much of our national security software infrastructure overseas?
Retarded.
Okay. But we have to because we have no engineers.
These people have no loyalty to this country, first of all. Second of all, security breach is going elsewhere.
Hey, dude, you're speaking to a guy who has to secure software for a living. Like, I am the choir.
And third, is the quality of skill the same? Fuck no.
It's not, demonstrably so. You know, I don't want to derail this anymore, but
It's quite simple, though.
Go ahead.
Everybody assumes the military industrial complex primary goal is providing for our defense. It's not.
No, its
primary purpose is to make a profit.
Yeah, make money.
And so they've always looked at, profit. And by increment, they've outsourced things. If the primary purpose was national defense, we would have kept all that in-house. But by farming out, they got better profit. And so that's what they did.
So here's another ironic anecdote, and I don't think I had time to get into this on our last stream. Elon Musk, right? He was the guy who kind of pushed this H-1B debate out and into the public conscious. He runs 3 companies, 2 of which, the 2 big ones, Tesla and SpaceX, they both. Oh no, only one uses H-1Bs. That's Tesla. SpaceX is not allowed to use H-1Bs because rockets are considered ballistic missile technology under ITAR, and only naturalized citizens or born citizens can work on them. So he built SpaceX, supposedly in this massive shortage of engineers. He built rockets that do things that have never been done before. The Starship flight that's going up tomorrow, 100% American engineering. Why? Because the law says it has to be. It's not like this is something where we are, oh no, we've never done that before. Not only have we done that before, where we say, no, it has to be built by Americans, we're doing that right now. And so what I see a lot of the Nietzschean boomers saying is, oh, well, just go get a job in defense. As you guys know, I'm married to a Russian. I can't. But that answer is called learned helplessness. Well, we can't change the system, so just go find some way to make the system work for you.
True enough.
By the way, guys.
Well, now, Plutarch, with your ramblings, you've taken this.
We got it over 2 hours.
Stretched it into the typical length.
Hey, Shah, I see you in the chat. I'm going to send you an email, guy. This has come up a couple of times now, so I'm going to send you an email. We're going to talk about this some more offline. Maybe we can put together something online for your crew too.
Oh, that'd be fun too.
Yeah. As this H-1B thing has, you know how Nick has his thing over there that he just can't get away from.
Yep.
This H-1B thing is kind of turning into my version of that, because I was trained from a very early age, read Strauss and Howe as a teenager. I've seen this coming for a long time. But it wasn't until the past couple of months that I think I'm starting to really understand how the ekpyrosis, which is the term that Neil Howe uses, is going to actually occur. Everyone seems caught up on this dichotomy of it has to be either an economic crash or a civil war. I mentioned this last time. I'm not sure that's what it's going to be, but that's concurrent with what I was saying before of the country's decided that there's going to be change. We're just negotiating over what the change is. So what that change is starting to take shape. And, for you guys out there, you absolutely have to be aware of this and what's going on. Like, I'm not saying that H-1B is the trigger point. It actually won't be. It will be something else. Now, that said, based on the show we did last time, immigration was the top issue of the electorate in 2024, and it's not even close. So pay attention to those arguments because the electorate's told you what it cares about. This is why we love data on our show, guys. Like that's
Yeah.
So
well, I'm
Facts
sure
don't
we'll
care
get
about
into
your
this again.
feelings.
Yes, Nick. Facts don't care about your feelings.
Yeah.
We're gonna be back next week. It's just gonna be Nick and I. We have no idea what it will be because neither Nick and I have even thought about preparing anything. We will get you something. Nick and I. Nick, have we ever done one out by ourselves? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I was gonna say I don't.
That'd be interesting.
I don't think that Steve, you've been kind of a constant up there in that corner of yours.
Yeah, I haven't missed any yet, but I'm going to miss one now.
It's good. You need to. We all need to miss one once in a while. And
that's right.
So yeah. Okay, guys, for our watchers out there, if you have anything you disagreed with in this episode, please drop us a comment. I haven't gotten back to them. I've been just getting destroyed by work because I actually have work to do. Yeah. So if you like the video, drop us a like. If you want to hear more, you can subscribe. We don't require it, although it does let us know that you guys like what you're hearing enough to come back. And yeah. Oh yes, join us on Saturdays. So that's my wife there. She tends to run streams that are more on the female, talking to about female stuff, talking about, she's not as big into the data as we are. Doesn't mean she doesn't like it. It's just her streams don't tend to go that way. But it'll be on the same kind of stuff that we talk about here. So you'll see all three of us over there occasionally. We kind of rotate through depending on who's available. Steve, you're not available on Saturday, right?
No, I'm not.
Okay. I guess I gotta. You will be. All right,
yeah.
Nick. It'll be you and I on Saturday, and then you and I again on Wednesday.
Sounds good.
All right. Yeah. This was a fun one. A little on the lighter side, at least until the end when Steve gave me license to go ranting. Yeah, we'll see you on Saturday or next Wednesday. Later.
Okay, bye.